Not going to lie, initially this did not go well at all. I've been looking for an Android head unit for this for a while now. I've looked at quite a few reviews online. Those who have watched the channel for a while, you know that I've got a few different things going on inside the cabin of this. I've got the head unit, the radio head unit that has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And I have an iPad set up on a RAM mount with Explore Oz on it. It's a great way to do things. But in the cab of this, it ends up making things just a bit too overcomplicated. So I wanted to bring everything and put it in one place. And all the research that I've done, I ended up going with this one here. This is Atoto is the brand. There are numerous brands around for Android head units that I have found. Bucket loads of them, and there's a few brands that kind of sit up there all the time in all the different reviews, and this is one of them. So I reached out to these guys and they sent it over to me to install. Now, they're not paying me for this, but they did send it to me for free, and they actually sent me a lot of peripherals for it for free. I'll show you what it does first. The idea of doing this is to bring everything in one place so I can have my navigation apps running whilst I'm driving, listening to music or podcasts or whatever the situation is. But with the peripherals that they've also added into this, I've got OBD scanners, I've got tire pressure monitoring system. They've got a lot of things all in the one system. So it's kind of like an ecosystem for your car. I'll show you what you actually get when you get one of these units, what you actually get in the box. You get all the wiring looms, and this is the 9-inch head unit, and this one here is what they sent to me, and it had numerous faults on it. So I reached out to them and I said, this is not good enough, you need to sort this stuff out, and they just replaced it. In saying that, it was kind of a blessing in disguise, because I ended up wanting one that was slightly bigger. I ended up getting a 10.1. So look, around the back of this here, you've got a series of ports. This has that many inputs and outputs into this thing. It's nuts. So what I've installed into the car here, I've installed a reversing camera, a forward-facing dash cam, GPS, its own GPS antenna, 4G antenna. What else we got in here? External microphone, OBD via Bluetooth, tire pressure monitoring via Bluetooth. It does quite a bit of things. And the system that I've got set up in the Landcruiser here there's nothing been added to it. So if you were to install this into yours and you had like an amplifier and so forth, you'd be able to run out to the amplifier in that regard. It's got all these ports up the top here. These ones here are for all the peripherals. And then you've got this larger black port under here. And this is where you will wire in all the car audio for this, for your left and right speakers, your power, your auxiliary power, all those sorts of things. The only downside about this is that it doesn't come with the cable that you need for your car specifically, and they actually do make a bit of an issue about that when I was dealing with them. Not an issue as such, but they were very adamant about go and get yourself a proper cable. I didn't. I just wired it all up, and it's working fine. They give you lots of options here. So they give you these sorts of cables, and they're all lettered and numbered and so forth, so you can see what needs to go to where. Realistically, if you've done any sort of 12 volt, any sort of automotive wiring, you're going to work this out. When he first told me, the person that I was dealing with first told me to go and get the cable, it actually made me a little bit, do I need to do this or not? Is this within my skill set? It's well and truly within your skill set. If you've wired in a car radio like we used to when we were younger, you can do this. It's not rocket science. This one here is the X10. It sits in a good spot. It's not overly expensive, and it's got plenty of features. It also includes wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. And to be honest, I'm not using it that way, and I'll explain the significant downside of an Android head unit with wireless CarPlay shortly. I've had it installed now for about a month. So the original one that I had in here, it was getting hot. It wasn't maintaining the settings. There were a few different things wrong with it, and they just replaced it. They just went, no, we're not going to bother mucking around with this. Here, have another one. And like I said at the beginning, they sent me a 10-inch one. This is what it looks like here. It looks pretty darn good, I think, in the Cruiser. Now, all of this is very customizable. You can lay this screen out any way you want to. If you're in the Android world, you know they're very customizable. You can put different launchers onto this. I've installed like the Nova launcher and used different ways to configure this, and the experimentation hasn't ended. I will keep on doing this. I wanted to push this video out because they've got some pretty good specials going at the moment. I wasn't going to release this video until, or complete this video until probably another 2 weeks, but because the Black Friday sales are coming on, they've actually reduced the price of these a fair bit, so I figured I'll get it out there now so you guys can get it if you want to, a bit cheaper. So the configuration of this is all good. There's a couple of things here that you will notice as we go through it that you're going to go, I don't like that, and I didn't like it either. Like, for example, there are no buttons, no physical buttons anywhere here, nothing. And that, to me, especially in a vehicle that gets bumped around and stuff off-road, that was a problem. Now, this menu across the bottom here, we can configure this quite a bit. So these icons were all quite small, and once I worked out as we configure this thing, you can make it a lot bigger. You can use the volume there. However, I asked them to send me this instead, and this sits on the steering wheel, and it does everything that you want to do. You can answer the phone with it, volume up, volume down, skip, turn the thing on, turn it off. It's actually quite good, and it's not really intrusive at all. But like I say, you can configure this however you want to do it. Many apps as well. So I've got on here new tracks. We can run new tracks, memory maps, Waze. I'm going to install Explore Oz, so I quite like that app, so I'll end up putting that on here as well. And the beauty of this sort of thing is that you can run one app over this side, another app over this side. So for example, we could put memory maps on the left or the right, doesn't matter, and new tracks on the other side, and you can see as you're driving around, following the route that you've made with, say, memory maps, you can see what the track conditions are with new tracks. So it's a good all-round sort of solution. There are a couple of things that this company is known for. One is the way that you can customize the equalizer on this thing, and it really is pretty in-depth, but if you've got a 70 series cruiser, you know you've got 4 speakers, and that's all you've got out of the box, and they're not really great, so I'm not that concerned about how this sounds. I may end up doing the speakers in another part of the build, I suppose. Maybe I'll upgrade them at some point, and if that's the case, if you've done that, let me know what you've done so I can replicate something here. So you can customize this however you want. They've got presets up here. Other one here, you can move it to wherever you want to have it in the car, so it will go with that speaker, or here in the center. I tend to bring it just a little bit back. That's something that I've always just done ever since I've had a car. The other thing that this company is known for, besides its awesome equalizer, is AI, this drive chat AI. I'm going to be honest, I've never used it. I don't want to use it, but from the reviews that I've seen, it actually doesn't look like it's too bad. It's going to do things that basically help you be lazy a bit. Like, what's the weather like today? What time is it? And you will use keywords as you're driving. This will go search the internet and give you the answer. All of those things are very customizable, and you'll see it in videos moving forward how I customize them again. Some of the accessories are things that it comes standard with, GPS, 4G, all that wiring loom, those sorts of things. What it didn't come standard with, and I asked them for it for the purpose of the video, is tire pressure monitoring, external microphone, OBD scanner, and the front and rear cameras, and that's it. So let's talk about some of the downsides of this, I suppose. The tire pressure monitoring is good. It seems to be fairly accurate, but the only downside really with the tire pressure monitoring is that, one, you can't run the app side by side like you can with other apps. I don't know why. And this is probably more so just for any tire pressure monitoring that is on the valve stem. These are a bit of a pain in the ass when you want to go off-road and deflate your tires. And I think when we deflate tires, already in many people's head, it's a little bit of a pain, and they don't do it. And what ends up happening is they don't deflate their tires and get into a bit of strife. When you've got tire pressure monitoring on there, it makes it even worse. And that's only because you've got to take off a whole monitor, remove screw down a nut, and then do your tire pressuring. So it increases the time to deflate, is what I'm saying. That's not a reflection on this unit, it's just a reflection on tire pressure monitors in general. Another thing that was a bit of an issue with this is the OBD scanner. Now it works and it works fine, the app is fine, but the downside is that they struggled to find one for me. It's not available in Australia. So what I ended up doing was reaching out to my mate Trev over at AutoFix, and he sent me their one that you can buy here in Australia, and it will do all your OBD reading through the app. You can put it on your phone or put it on a head unit there, like we have here, and it will do the same thing that other OBD scanners that AutoFix sells on your head unit here. And it's only teeny tiny, and it sits up under there, and it runs via Bluetooth. So although their one works well, we can't buy them here in Australia. So if you want that functionality, reach out to Trev at AutoFix. This is another downside of this particular unit. It's not to do with the unit, it's more to do with the camera that they've got here. So this is the same place I've always had a reversing camera on this vehicle. And if you've got a 76 series, you know that's probably the best place for it. The downside of this here is only, I think it's 150 degrees or 170 degrees. It's not wide enough, or 150 I think it is. It's just not wide enough, and especially vertically, it's not wide enough vertically. So I've got to actually move this around a little bit when I'm reversing if I want to line up the tow bar onto the McHitch for the trailer. So it's a bit of a downside, that one, but you can probably just go and get yourself a regular aftermarket reverse camera and wire it in just as well. That's pretty much all the things that I think that are no good with this, as in it's a downside of this. That is, the lack of buttons I think is a decent thing with this. They do make other head units that do have physical buttons and dials, which is probably not a bad idea if it's in the four-wheel drive, if you are off-road a bit. The reversing camera I think is just too narrow, top and bottom, for what we do. And that's really about it. Everything else you can kind of live with. There is also something that is significant with this setup. They spruik, and this is not this company, but this is just Android head units in general. The ones that offer you wireless CarPlay and offer you wireless Android Auto, it's going to take your Wi-Fi from the head unit, which means, think about how we use this. This is how I came about this problem, and which is why I'm not using Android Auto in this. I've got the Starlink up on the roof. That's the internet for the car. So whilst I'm out driving around and downloading maps if I need to on the go, that's how I'm doing it. So that's the Wi-Fi connection taken to that head unit. Now all Android head units, all the ones that I could find at least, they use that same Wi-Fi connection to connect to your phone for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto in the wireless sense. So it took away from all of that. However, I actually think it's a pretty good thing, because now I can use all of those apps which are not available readily on that system. If I was using an iPhone, for example, I can put it all onto the Android head unit, because it runs pretty much everything, and get the whole system that I want right there in the car. So I'm not using Apple CarPlay or Android Auto with the setup here, but it's just as intuitive as if it would be, just with more apps. It's a pretty good solution. I don't think this is for everybody. I think if you are, if you've watched this channel long enough, you know that I don't just like to do the basics. I've done all that. I just want to, I like gadgets and I like techie stuff. So this is for someone like me. If you just want the button for radio and a button for volume, you're done. This is not for you. But if you're someone who's using online maps whilst you're out in the bush, you definitely want to have a look at this. All right, guys, that's it for today. I'll catch you later.